Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lizzy for those of you who don't know. Today I am going to be recommending some summer books that I have personally loved reading in the summer and books that I'm recommending to you to read in the summer because I feel like there's like a specific set of books that we read in each season. Like in the summer, I feel like it's like majority romance, and then the fall we get into more like fantasy, mystery, and like winter is like the same as that. I feel like as the seasons change, our book genres change. So I feel like it's very fitting to recommend some books for the summer. I have some genres here. I'm gonna start with romance. So the first book I'm recommending is Meet Me Halfway by Lillian T. James, and this book, it's kind of like a single mom trope and like a grumpy neighbor trope, that whole thing. And I read this book last year and I remember really enjoying it. It's super fast. I felt like I read this one pretty quickly, but this book is about a girl named Madison, and she moves in next door to this grumpy neighbor, and there's like some complaints going on, and then obviously like they have to meet and a spark happens, and she does have a son. So that's a very interesting aspect in this book, but I did really enjoy this one, and I think it's pretty fitting for the summer. All right, so the next book that I'm recommending is actually kind of a sad one, and this book like destroyed me when I read it last year. So this is like if you're in the mood for a book that like will make you sad, which sometimes I think it's important to cry. I think it's important to test our feelings out a little bit, and that this book definitely did that for me. This is Pack Up the Moon by Kristen Higgins. This is basically a book about a man whose wife is dying, and she inevitably dies, and she leaves 12 letters for him in the course of a year after her death. And you're basically on this like mourning journey with this like widowed man, and it literally tore me up. It tore me up. But I feel like sometimes these books are good. So if you like those books or would like to do that, if you would like to feel something, this book I think will definitely make you feel something, that's for sure. Okay, so the next books I have are books from my favorite author, and that is Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have Carrie Soto's Back in Malibu Rising, and these both follow like the time frame of summer, and they just remind me of just like, especially this one, it has to do with tennis, and I feel like tennis is like a warm sport. Like you play tennis outside. I don't know, I feel like when I think of tennis, I think of just like heat. But I loved this book. I read it last month, and it was so good. I loved this one. And then also Malibu Rising, I'm sure you guys have heard this one, or maybe some of you had read it, but this is basically about just like these famous surfers. They're all a family, and there's some drama that happens, and it all happens within a day, so you're just in like a 24-hour time frame. So I really loved this book when I read it, and it was very summery as well. So yeah. Okay, so next books I'm recommending are like rom-com contemporary romances. The first author that I'm going to recommend for this summer, and actually all three of these books, is Sarah Adams. She writes closed-door romances. For those of you who don't know, that basically means like there's no spice, it fades to black. So if you are more interested in those, she specifically writes closed-door romances, and I loved every single one of these books. So here I have with me is When in Rome, Practice Makes Perfect, and The Cheat Sheet. These all were just incredible, really cute romances that I loved reading them. I read these two this summer. I read this one last year, and I just loved these to bits. She is such an incredible author. She just writes such cute, genuine, sweet romances, and I loved every single second of reading these books. So the next books that I have, or I guess book, but I am recommending book lovers or just Emily Henry in general. She is like a world-renowned author. Like, I feel like everyone has heard of Emily Henry and her books and just like her in general. Like, I love every one of her books. My least favorite is People Meet on Vacation, but I still enjoyed my time. I still like loved her writing through and through. This book is for the bookish girlies. Like, she, I think, is a literary agent and he is like something else in the books, and she goes to like this small town to celebrate her sister's baby moon. And who does she wind up meeting? Our guy. What's his name? Who does she wind up meeting? Our guy Charlie. So then a romance ensues, obviously, but Emily Henry just creates the best stories. So much depth in every one of her books. So much happens. Like, I don't know how you can create characters that have so much depth and the book is only this long. Like, it's just so good. Not only is it a romance book, but it's also just a really great story. I just think she really prioritizes like development of a story and development of characters, and I really appreciate that. So yeah, I recommend this one, but I also just recommend all Emily Henry books in general. If you have not yet picked up a Emily Henry book, like, please do. Like, I'm begging you, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who has told you personally to do it, but I would highly, highly, highly recommend. Okay, so another romance book that I just finished actually, but I thoroughly enjoyed and is now probably one of my favorite authors and favorite books is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I don't know why I didn't pick up her book sooner. This book was just like everything I needed. It was so good. I don't really want to get into this book or what it's about or what my thoughts were because I'm going to leave that for my wrap up. But I do want to say I very much need you guys to pick up this book. If you would like to go in order and if you are kind of like a perfectionist, Part of Your World is the first technical book in this companion series, but you can pick up this book without reading that. That's fine too. But if you do want to go in order, it's Part of Your World and then Yours Truly. This one was just so stinking good. Abby Jimenez is one of my favorite authors, I think now. Like, I cannot get over her characters and her writing and her story and her pacing. It is just so incredible. Please pick this book up. I'm begging you. Okay, so the next book that I have for you guys is my last romance book that I am recommending, and that is Runaway Groomsmen by Megan Quinn. I picked up this book last year and I did rather enjoy it. This is about a guy who is basically a groomsman at his ex's wedding, and he decides to like boycott the whole wedding and escape, and he winds up in this small town. He ends up meeting a girl named Fallon, and obviously romance ensues. He likes the small town. You know how the story goes, but yeah, this was a super cute book. I do want to pick up some more books by Megan Quinn. I know Bloom just released the cover reveal for, I forget what it is, but it literally looked so beautiful. So I want to pick that book up whenever it releases, but I do highly recommend this one as well. Okay, so now I have some YA books for you. I feel like YA is the summer genre. Like, YA books are just so incredible. I love YA so much. I'm going to be recommending, of course, Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. What else would I recommend? This book is one of my 5-star reads. It is just so perfect and cute and everything you want in a YA book. She's stuffed in here. It was just so incredible. Please pick up this book if you have not yet. Like, if you don't really like YA, I still really need you to pick up this book. It's a YA fake dating. It has a lot of rom-com, like, little things that happen within it, and it's so cute. Please pick this book up. Please. Please, look at how cute it is. Come on, how can you resist? I'm sure you guys can guess what books I'm recommending next, and it is none other than the Summer We Turned Pretty series. And I read this series last summer, and I remember falling in love with this series and falling in love with the show. This series is just, if summer was a book, it is these books. If summer was a book, it would be these books. I need you guys to pick up these books if you have not yet. Okay, so the next book that I have for you is a book that I feel like I've seen quite a bit of people reading this summer, and that is The Summer of Broken Rules. This book is about our main character, Meredith, and she is grieving because her sister passed and her family goes to an annual summer vacation in Martha's Vineyard, and they play a game of assassin there. So you're just following like this summer with this sister and like the summer of broken rules. Pick up this book if you haven't yet. If not only for the cover, like pick it up only for the cover. I mean, come on now. It is just so beautiful. My last YA recommendation is Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch, and I read this book last summer as well. This book is about a girl named Lena, and she's spending the summer in Italy because her mom passed, and her mom loved Italy, and she like left little mementos in a notebook that she left her. So she's basically like following her mother's footsteps and going to Italy and going to all these places that her mom went to, and it just like the atmospheric vibes at this book, like it just explains Italy so beautifully, but also has like, it's still YA and it still has like a cute romance in it as well. I really enjoyed this book reading it. Okay, so I'm gonna go into some fantasy, and I know that fantasy is not like the summer genre, but I feel like low stakes fantasy is definitely acceptable in the summer. I think any fantasy is acceptable in the summer because I love fantasy, but if you aren't or are strictly a winter fantasy girly, but you kind of miss that fantasy feeling, I got you with some recs. The first book that I'm recommending is the whole Caraval trilogy. I only have this one with me right now because I have them there. But I love this trilogy so much. It is like kind of low stakes. It's not super big world building. It's very beautiful, fantastical, mystical. Stephanie Garber just creates the most magical writing, and she really transcribed that in this book. Like, it was such a beautiful thing to read. So yeah, Caraval should be high on your list if you haven't read it yet. Following Caraval, we have like probably my favorite books on my shelf, one of my favorite books, and that is Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After. This series, I want to frame these books. They are my favorite series. I actually have the UK editions coming soon, and I am genuinely so excited. But regardless of that, these are just fantastical, magical, beautiful books that I need you guys to read right now. The third book is coming out in October. Perfect time to read them because October is only like 100 and something days away. Please pick up these books if you haven't. Okay, so the last books that I'm recommending is a YA fantasy that I read, I think, in August of last year, and that is the Prison Healer trilogy. This whole trilogy is YA. It's so easy to understand, but also has such depth to it. This first book leaves you on a cliffhanger that will like literally destroy you, that you'll need to go right into the gilded cage. Like, it is so crazy. I couldn't even believe it when I read it. It's a kind of lower stakes fantasy. It's not low stakes, but it's YA, so it can only do so much. And it's so easy to understand. There's not a ton of world building, so you don't have to worry about these heavy fantasy elements that you see in a lot of books. This is a pretty easy fantasy to understand. I highly, highly, highly recommend this series if you haven't read so yet. Okay, and now since I'm here, I just thought that I would show you some books that I have on my summer TBR, and I just have like three books to show you. So we'll just go into What Happens After Midnight, and this is actually the next book after The Summer of Broken Rules. I don't think it follows the same characters. I think it might be in the same world, but this is also a YA romance little cute book that I am so excited to get into this summer. So yeah, this is definitely on my list. Another book that I have with me is Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, and I haven't heard the best about this book, but I'm willing to give it a chance, and I did really love Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. So I'm willing to give this book a chance. I'm willing to give it my whole opinion and just everything I think about it. And it's so cute. Okay, and the last book that I have on my TBR physically is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. And I actually read The Dead Romantics by her last fall. And that book is one of my 5-star reads. It just started raining and it was so random. That book is one of my 5-star reads. The Dead Romantics is such an incredible book for fall. And she just released this one. And the synopsis sounds so interesting, so I am so excited to pick this one up, like so excited. Okay, so that is the end of my summer book recs video. If you guys enjoyed, please like and subscribe. It means the world to me. I would highly, highly appreciate it if you guys did that for me. You have no idea how happy it makes me to just see people enjoy and love my videos. It truly means the whole world to me. It is a dream come true. So if you did enjoy this video, enjoy my content, or just feel like it, please subscribe if you would like. And I really hope to see you guys in my next YouTube video. Please have a great rest of your day. Bye.